Hi everybody, I want to talk a little bit today about food sensitivities and food allergies. I've had a lot of patients come in lately, and if it's their child or if it's themselves, have had questions about food sensitivities and food allergies. Now, food allergies are what we commonly see when you go to an MD and you get what's called an IgE test. And a food allergy likely has the patient carry some kind of EpiPen, or you carry an EpiPen for your child because it's an anaphylactic type reaction. So a food allergy is something that can be fairly severe, but we need to understand the difference between food allergy, which is an IgE or immunoglobulin E pathway reaction, and a food sensitivity. Now, a food sensitivity is an IgG or an IgA reaction to something that you ingest. Now, when you ingest the food, so let's talk about food sensitivities. The food goes into the GI system in the small intestine and is absorbed through the microvilli on the small intestine into the bloodstream. A lot of times what we see is when the guts are inflamed, mostly because our diets aren't that great, and we all need to admit that, especially in America, unfortunately, is that we have inflammation in the GI tract. When that happens, we start to try to absorb undigested proteins and undigested food particles. When that happens, your body creates an antibody to what's called an antigen, which happens to be that food. Now, it's something that we probably weren't born sensitive to. Sometimes you can be, but a lot of times not. It's because your GI tract is not healthy. So when that happens, you've created an immune response to a normal food. So when you have these normal foods getting bombarded by our own immune system, we create more inflammation in the GI tract. So our small intestine cannot absorb and assimilate the nutrients properly, and thus leads to all kinds of issues. So a lot of people will term that irritable bowel syndrome or leaky gut syndrome. I have some blog posts on my website, drkirkjohnson.com, that goes over leaky gut syndrome and all the things in leaky gut, zonulin, and all these markers that we can tell this patient has leaky gut. We can also look at applied kinesiology testing. Applied kinesiology can help determine food sensitivities and can also look at the different organ systems and help me determine which nutritional supplement is right for you. Now, if anybody's been around nutritional supplements, you know there's about 8 million things for gut health. There's 8 million things. Which probiotics should I take? Which digestive enzyme should I take? You know, what whole food supplement should I take? Should I take a multivitamin? So that helps me rein it in. So I'll do another Facebook Live about nutritional supplement testing, but I really want to hammer this food sensitivity testing so you guys understand what I do here in the clinic. So we can do this two ways. And first of all, I'm certified in applied kinesiology, one of the few chiropractors here in Kansas City that is, and that is a manual muscle testing technique. I've seen it work thousands and thousands of times in my practice. So I'm going to kind of show you what I do as far as how I test these vials. So we go through and we check each patient, and we use manual muscle testing to determine, okay, what food could they be sensitive to and what's showing up positive in the sensitivity. So I'm going to grab a kit here from behind me, and you probably can't read it because it's tiny, but all these vials are what's called a homeopathic of the different foods. So we go through and scan all these foods on the patient and determine, okay, they might be sensitive to cheese. So like this vial is American cheese, if you can see it there. So we go through, we can determine there's 96 vials in here. I have another kit with a few more vials, and this also has some organic things and some other things that you can be sensitive to, molds, dust, stuff like that. So when we go through, we can determine, okay, you are sensitive to XYZ food. So what do? Well, you need to avoid that food in your diet, right? If you avoid that food, you're not going to cause that IgE or the IgG or the IgA response. So you're going to calm down the inflammation in the GI tract. When that happens, you can actually let the gut heal properly. If you're continuing to introduce foods that are sensitive, foods that are causing that inflammatory and immune response, you're going to have a really hard time healing the gut. So gut healing has to take place in an environment that you're not constantly bombarding it with the wrong kinds of foods. So that's the first step, and a lot of people right now are thinking, how do I get healthy this year? How can I improve my digestion, improve my overall health? the first key is you can't be eating foods that are causing inflammation in your system, because systemic inflammation causes many, many degenerative issues that we see today. It can, the enteric nervous system, again, there's posts on my website, blog posts about the enteric nervous system, the gut-brain connection, on how it can, cause anxiety and depression, because your serotonin's produced in the GI tract, and serotonin's like the happy hormone. So if you don't have enough serotonin, or you're not using serotonin properly, your guts are probably inflamed. So that's one way to test food sensitivities, is through applied kinesiology testing, manual muscle testing. We can then also, if you don't want to do it that way, we can do it through our new lab that we've been using. And Heather McCoy, our in-house massage therapist and registered nurse and phlebotomist, we can do the blood draws right here in the office. You don't have to run around the whole city to get your blood drawn, okay? We can do all that here. But they have a great food sensitivity panel, okay? It's 96 foods. It's a great product, and they test both IgG and IgA reactions. So this is the company Vibrant Wellness. You see there, that's their food sensitivity test. This is a sample, okay? So I'm not showing you anybody's real food sensitivity test. But as you can see, you're going to come up with positive, moderate, and negative reactions to foods. So I'm going to put that pretty close. You can see the different foods there and how they're listed. And it's going to give you an idea, an exact idea of, okay, in this test sample that we have, this person would have a cow's milk issue, goat's milk, casomorphin, which is a protein that you have to digest casein, which is one of the milk proteins. And then it has some fish allergies, salmon and tuna, sensitivities, I should say, not allergies. And they have some moderate egg yolk, coffee. That would be a bummer for most people, coffee. I hate to tell people that they can't drink coffee, or red wine. I usually get that one too, and people hate that. And then they have a bunch of negative things that they can't eat on an everyday basis. The great part about this test too is it's really cool. I'm going to go through some. Here's one, say egg white. And then it also gives a description there, which you probably can't read, but it says hidden sources. So it's a really good thing to look back on and say, okay, if I have a sensitivity to egg whites, I need to make sure that, it could be in my specialty coffee drinks from Starbucks or wherever. Or it could be from some pasta. Or albumin is found in processed foods. That's one of the proteins in an egg white. So you need to also avoid those hidden sources, which a lot of people, when I tell them, hey, you have a sensitivity to soy. Okay, soy is in like everything that's packaged, right? So you have a big issue there because you need to know what to look for. So one of the biggest ones is called soy lecithin, or a lot of times on nutritional labels in the United States, it's just categorized as lecithin, which is kind of hidden. If you're not used to reading or food labels or supplement labels, you might say, oh, lecithin, okay, it's not soy, but that is soy. That's a soy byproduct. It's usually used as an emulsifier in nutritional supplements and food, so it helps it blend, really. So another one is corn. Corn is tough, especially because it's mostly GMO here in the United States, which causes even more problems. But like hidden sources in corn, they're in caramel or caramel coloring in soft drinks, cellulose, dextrin, maltodextrin, all those things are corn. So if you're supposed to avoid corn and you're sensitive to corn, but you're still eating something with maltodextrin in it, you're still getting corn. So that is not going to allow the GI tract to calm down, and it's going to stay flared up. Yes, right, Brittany, corn is in everything. Everything that's in a box pretty much has corn or soy in it. It's almost impossible to avoid, but it's not, because we pretty much avoid corn most of the time. So this is, it's interesting too. I'm going to show you on legumes. You can see the IgG reaction is in yellow. The IgA reaction is in gray. And if you go under soy, see it right there? So they're getting a reaction on just one of those immunoglobulin pathways on the IgA pathway, but you still have to avoid it. If you want the guts to heal, you want your system to work properly, you have to avoid soy, which, like we just said, soy is in everything. So this Vibrant America and Vibrant Wellness gives us a great way to test for food sensitivities. Now, this test costs a little bit of money, but it's a great test if you want a hard copy, have everything written, you know, nice little handout that you can go back and reference. So that's the two ways in my office that I test for food sensitivities. Now, I had 2 new patients this morning that were children that were tested for food sensitivities. Now, most kids don't want to go get a blood draw, right? They're scared of getting a blood draw. So that's when applied kinesiology is such a great tool to have, to be able to just do manual muscle testing and say, you are reacting or you're sensitive to these foods right now. So let's avoid those foods and let's add in, for the patients this morning, I tested nutritional supplements as well. Let's add in these nutritional supplements and let's do this for a month and let's keep in contact. And you come back in a month and let's talk about, okay, what's happened, what's changed? Have the symptoms gotten better? Have they gotten worse? What do we need to change up? So food sensitivities can be changing. It's not like if you're sensitive to some foods, I usually see that as being sensitive to long term. Unfortunately, milk, soy, wheat, and corn are some of the ones that are hard to get over that sensitivity. Now, saying that, if you've avoided them for months on end or a month to 3 months, and you add it back in or you cheat, it's not going to wreak havoc on the system like it is when you're constantly ingesting that food. So, food sensitivities are a huge issue right now. I see it in my practice every day. I love to help people out. If you don't take those foods out of the diet, you're not going to heal the GI tract and you're not going to become the healthiest person you want to be. So if you have questions, comments, comment in the post and I'll try to respond as fast as I can. The other test kits that we have in the office, which are really cool, is, I don't know how many of you are into essential oils, but I have, my wife is a doTERRA consultant, and I have another consultant up here in my office. She's usually here Tuesdays and Thursdays. Her name's Angela Isaacs, and she made me an awesome doTERRA essential oil test kit, and it's really awesome. I can check all the essential oils on you. I have a few more up here, and then we have test kits for tons and tons of different nutritional supplements. I won't show you all those, but we can get basically any nutritional supplement, but I like to be able to test that supplement on the patient and make sure it works for their system. So if you have questions about blood work for IgG and IgA food sensitivities, we can do that. If you have questions about applied kinesiology testing to find out food sensitivities, just write them down below there, and I'll try to answer the best of my ability. So great to talk with you. This Thursday at my clinic, 15445 Metcalf Avenue, we are having a lunch panel discussion. It's free. It's at noon on Thursday. And it's going to be me, Adi Shamir, who is our integrative nutritionist. She's awesome at meal planning, helping you understand what you should buy from the grocery store. She takes my food sensitivities that I find into account and puts that into basically your diet plan or your meal plan, which helps people out immensely. She has recipes on her website. She can help you out a ton in that regard. She'll be there, and Heather McCoy, the massage therapist, is going to be there to talk about detoxification when you're going through all this, how massage can help that, and also she's an RN, so she can answer questions there. And also we will talk about a little bit more about some of the different blood panels we offer here in the clinic. So noon Thursday, we'd love to see you here, and you get a free, really healthy lunch. We'll have great salads, soups, and chicken. So hope to see you there. Take care, and I'll try to get back on tomorrow and talk a little bit about some other testing that we do, especially for GI issues and gut health issues. All right, take care.